know you're crazy, but I only wanna be with you. You think I'm shady cause I'm out here trying to make some moves, but it ain't like that. Just know that I'll be right back. I'll give you all my time just to let you know you're mine. It ain't nothing. Promise I'ma do it all to give you something. This love I got is only for you. You're my comfort, my future husband. I'ma give you all my heart, yeah, all of it, yeah. Baby, I know that I gotta come fix it. You the only nigga that I be missing. Swear I'm coming home to give you the business. Turn off my phone, it can leave me a message. I'ma just cover your body with kisses, kisses. Rub your body down, you know that I miss it, miss it.
Cheer. Welcome to Happy Hour with Lito. I am your host. Today we're gonna talk about some real things going on, man. Some real disturbing, I guess you can say, disturbing things. You know what I mean? First and foremost, shout out to my sponsor, Niche Clothing. Niche Clothing. They came on, you know what I'm saying, Black owned, and they're taking off, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to them. If you want to purchase anything, www.nicheclothing.shop is the website. That's www.nicheclothing.shop. And you know what I mean? Remember, no niche is too small if it's yours. You dig? Shout out to them. Shout out to Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown, you guys may or may not know who Kwame Brown is, right? Well, I'm sure everybody knows who Kwame Brown is right now, because of everything that's been going on and the awareness. And I got my notes, you know what I'm saying, of everything too. But the awareness that he is bringing to light that we might not even have thought about, or maybe we thought about, but we were not the people who felt like, we should say something. Kwame Brown was a high school basketball player who was taken in the first round of the NBA draft in 2001 by Michael Jordan and the Washington Wizards, right? He was in the league for 12 or 13 years, something like that. But in the eyes of a lot of people, they felt like he didn't live up to, you know what I'm saying, the potential that, that they felt that he you know what I mean, he should have been at, being that he was the number one pick, right? Every day for the last 20 years, I won't say every day, right? But if you bring up basketball, on ESPN, Fox Sports, ESPN First Take, Stephen A. Smith has, you know what I'm saying, disrespected Kwame Brown. He's been disrespected by so many other people, and here more recently, he's gotten into it with Steven Jackson. He's gotten into it with Matt Barnes. They have a podcast, All the Smoke podcast, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to mess that up. All the Smoke podcast. Yeah, All the Smoke podcast. I wanted to make sure I got that right. All the Smoke podcast. And also, Charlemagne the God has been involved, right? And, for the longest time, Kwame pretty much just let people talk about him. He didn't really say much. He didn't really come out there and try to, defend himself until recently. Now he's tired of the bullshit. Now he's not playing no games, all right? So he's come out and he has started to defend himself, and people mad at him about it, right? You call somebody a bust, for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? But, question I have is like, why we don't empower black men? right? Why do we make fun of their failure, or because they are not elite at something? Because they're just good, not elite, right? You know, Kwame Brown, you know, his goal might have been able to, you know, his goal might have been just to get to the NBA and be able to take care of his mother, take care of his family, which he was able to do that. But in the eyes of people like Stephen A. Smith, who, you know what I mean, feel like, oh, just because he, you know, was not this big dominant person like Shaquille O'Neal or somebody like that, that he failed. How crazy is that? Like, it's crazy to me, right? And then, you know, why another question that I wanted to ask people today, right? Why, when a black man gets in trouble for domestic violence, or when a black man gets in trouble for domestic violence or commits a crime, whatever, right? It's plastered all over the sports networks. If they, you know what I'm saying, if they're an athlete, you know what I'm saying, plastered all over the network. You know what I'm saying? They talk about it multiple weeks. They all give their opinions on it. And everybody always says, oh, I got sisters I grew up with. You know, I would never let nobody do that to my sisters. Or I got, you know, I grew up with all girls, you know, my mother. I would never let somebody do anything like that to my mother, right? But, you know, Chad Wheeler of the Seahawks, he had a black girlfriend. He ended up allegedly beating on his girlfriend, right? Allegedly beating her up. And they barely talked about this, like, at all. So crazy to me. Like, I find it hard to believe that something like that, you know what I'm saying, was pretty much looked over. And, you know what I'm saying, with that being said, you know, Ray Rice, we seen the video, right? Now, Chad Wheeler's girlfriend, we saw the pictures of her and what she looked like, and she looked like she had been beaten, right? But Ray Rice, he hits his girlfriend or wife or whomever it was at the time, and it's caught on video. He's immediately banned from NFL play. Can no longer play NFL football at all. He was probably in his prime at that time. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, but Chad Wheeler, you know, what's going on with that case? I don't even know. I didn't take the liberty to look into it because I felt like if it was really something that was really happening, it would have been on television. Just like everything else that goes on when you talk about, you know, black men and things that black men go through. Black men doing domestic violence or whatever. It was all over television. You couldn't like not look at a sports syndication and find it. Chad Wheeler, I think I seen them talk about it like maybe once or twice, but it was gone. So it's like, you know, it's hard for me to understand why that is. Why do you know, people like Stephen A. Smith feel like, you know, it's cool to call men names, black men that, like I said, he's speaking on, Stephen A. Smith's looking at it like, okay, he can't play basketball, right? And, you know what I'm saying, as elite as someone that, you know, that gets picked number one is supposed to play. But Kwame is like, yo, they picked me number one. Cool. I'm actually, you know what I'm saying? I'm actually trying to take care of my family, and I was able to do something great for my mother that you can't never take away from me. That right there, man, is incredibly important to me. You know what I'm saying? So when I watch ESPN First Take, when Stephen A had Skip Bayless on there, and Skip Bayless, man, like y'all don't say nothing about this guy either. You know, he's on that Undisputed show on Fox Sports right now with Shannon Sharp. Man, Skip Bayless, man, like he talks about black African American basketball players. Like he's always said some craziness about them, and he thinks that just because he bigs up Michael Jordan or Magic Johnson, that it's okay for him to talk about black men. I cannot agree with that. I mean, I can't agree with that at all. He's called Chris Bosh in the past, Bosh Spice. You know what I'm saying? Like Chris Bosh as a grown man, like he could have went and seen him on that, as far as like, you know, like, but you know, the crazy thing, Jalen Rose, that's why I love Jalen Rose. Shout out to Jalen Rose. You know what I'm saying? The Jalen and Jacoby show. Shout out to Jalen Rose, because he said, you know what? On my show, we're going to retire the word bus. And on that show, ESPN First Take, or I think it might have been called Cold Pizza at that time. I can't remember. But he got into it with Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith, and basically was telling them like, yo, y'all got to call people names just because they're not living up to your standards. What about their own standards? Why does it matter, you know what I'm saying, how you think or how you feel about some of these guys? Why does it matter? Why should it matter? Why should it matter what Skip Bayless thinks? Why should it matter what Stephen A. Smith thinks? But at the same time, as men, you got to respect men. So, you know, when Jalen was up there and he said, listen, you know, what about you? What about you, Skip? Did you play basketball in high school, right? You averaged 0.3 points a game or something crazy like that. And then he called him Water Pistol Pete Jr. And when he did that, you know, Skip Bayless had all of these stories and excuses as to why he didn't have a great high school basketball career, right? But that's what I'm saying. So you disrespect a man. You don't even invite them to the show to talk about them in their face. You talk about them, and then when stuff get real, if somebody was on the show that wanted to say something about you, now you got to get in your feelings and you got to give your story, which nobody cared about. But the thing that I did not like about that was it was almost like Jalen was made to apologize to him for that back and forth. I hated that. You know what I'm saying? Just because he gave him a little bit of his own medicine. You know, Stephen A. Smith, you know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't be about, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, somebody being the first pick and, you know, being in the league and not playing up to your potential. It should be, listen, this brother, we don't know where this brother came from. We don't know his past. We don't know what he's been through. We know he might not be an elite player, but he was in the league 13 years, 12 years, 13 years, however many years. And the most important thing was, if he was in a situation where he was in the hood and his family was in the hood, guess what? He was able to get his family out the hood. That's important. We fail to look at that when we're talking about these guys just because they didn't live up to a standard of what we think they should be. Kwame Brown came into the league straight out of high school. He was a kid going on a team with the greatest player, in many people's eyes, the greatest player of all time, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, we've all seen the documentary. We've seen how he was with his teammates. Michael Jordan was not an easy person to play with. Michael Jordan was a tough person because he loved to win. He's a winner. A kid coming straight out of high school with that much pressure is extremely tough. Extremely tough. And, you know, people need to realize that, man. I don't like that they did Kwame Brown like that for 20 years. It's terrible. It needs, it needs to stop now, because after all this time, he hadn't said nothing, but now he done turned into Thanos. He done turned into Thanos on y'all. And now he ain't playing no games. Now, if you say something about Kwame Brown, he gonna say something back. Charlemagne the God. I always looked at Charlemagne like, you know what I'm saying? Like he was somebody that his mouth was going to get him in trouble someday. But at the same time, he was an intelligent brother that, you know what I'm saying, really could drop some jewels, drop some gems on these people, on these young people, and could probably help them, you know what I mean, not make some of the mistakes that he made in life. He get on a nationally syndicated radio station and say the things that he said about Kwame Brown, put all his business out about his family, about his father, his brothers. Some of that stuff Kwame didn't even know. You get out there and you say all of that stuff. Next thing you know, now Kwame on you. He gave an apology, right? But like Kwame said, you know what I'm saying? Like, was it real? If you really wanted to apologize to Kwame Brown, you know what you should have did, bro? You should have invited him to the Breakfast Club and had a conversation with that man. Now, if you would have extended that, that'd have been different. But, you know what I'm saying? When you put all that business out about Kwame, guess what? Kwame digged up some business about you, about your past. Then you send that cease and desist. Also, now it's not funny anymore, right? Now it's a different game. See that? Look how y'all do, man. I'm gonna get off of that. You know what I'm saying? Go on to the next thing I just want to talk about real quick. But shout out to Kwame Brown, man. I don't agree with everything, you know what I'm saying, that he does, just because, you know what I'm saying, like, don't even give these dudes no more life. Now you can just take your platform and do, you know what I'm saying, do with it whatever you want, bro. It don't even matter what they say no more, because now so many people's eyes are open to, you know, what's really important. It don't even matter what these dudes say. But you getting your respect, bro, and that's what matters. The Joe Budden Podcast. People that know me know that I am a Joe Venger, right? Joe Budden, from his music, all of his music, you know, albums, mixtapes, everything. I have always been a fan, a supporter. When he came out with his podcast in the beginning, it was called I'll Name This Podcast Later. And I've been a supporter ever since, you know what I'm saying, the very first one, right? And I've seen when Rory came along. I've seen when Maul came along. You know what I'm saying? And they grew, of course, with the show. But I never seen the outcome of everything. I never saw that coming. I guess the thing that, and I'm not going to be long-winded on this one, but I guess the thing that I think about is, bro, like Rory and Mal, y'all not broke. Nowhere near broke. There's people out here that have way less than y'all. And y'all care too much about the numbers when y'all don't even really like the pod anyway. That little commercial y'all just did trying to take shots at Joe and everybody, that was corny to me. It's always gonna be corny. Mal, you call yourself a real one. Real ones don't do that. The moment somebody says something, like say, hey, yo, we should have y'all get y'all own show and then turn around and, take shots at the other show that y'all was previously on. It's whack. I'd have been like, nah, I don't move that way. See, Mal, it don't seem like you, like the things that the person that you portrayed, it don't seem like you him, bro. Because if that was the case, you wouldn't move like that. Especially, and you've known Joe way longer than Rory. And you don't have an ounce of loyalty, you know what I'm saying, to Joe. Joe ain't right all the time. But Joe should be somebody that you should be able to call or pull up on and holler at if that was your man for, you know what I'm saying, a long ass time. Now, if you can't talk to him, that's different. Then, of course, you got to take yourself and remove that negative energy, right? But all the stuff that y'all, like, I watched when y'all came back on and y'all had that podcast and y'all all said it wasn't about money. Oh, it ain't about money. It's about respect. It ain't about money. It ain't never about money with me. But you left because of money. Bro, that's dumb. That don't, like, and then you didn't even explain that. You didn't explain why you got on, you know what I'm saying, the pod and lied. Basically, that's exactly what you did. You and Rory got on the podcast and lied, bro. And now I got all these cronies trying to big y'all up and, you know what I'm saying, can't wait for y'all to do y'all's own show and this, that, and the third. If I was Joe, for real, I would get my lawyers involved if y'all try to do a podcast. Just to be on some BS. Because I can't respect that, yo. Ice and Ish, shout out to them too. Ice and Ish, they great co-hosts as well. So what? They not Rory and Mal. What the hell does that matter? They're different. They offer something that people want to see, though. As you can tell, the show must go on, and it has. The Joe Budden Podcast has not missed a beat. And y'all hate that shit. It's crazy to me. Rory and Mal, man, I can't with y'all, bro. I try to support y'all. You know what I'm saying? When y'all dropped y'all's little, trying to explain everything, shit. But Rory, man, you seem like you the puppet master right now, bro. Like you in Mal's ear. And that ain't cool. That ain't cool at all. I heard something profound today. I was listening to the JBP. And he was talking about how Kwame Brown was getting at Charlemagne. And Joe said, you know what's crazy? Charlemagne tried to drag him. He has tried to drag his name through the mud for years. I'm talking, man, years he didn't like Joe or has, you know what I'm saying, said things about Joe. I remember when the whole thing came out about Joe in a situation with a young lady, a domestic violence situation that Joe said he was innocent on, and he ended up being innocent, right? But Charlemagne spoke on that on the Breakfast Club before, you know what I'm saying, when he shouldn't have, because he got his own DV situation that was in his past. And Joe was just talking like, yo, like, Don't it feel crazy? Like now Charlemagne is Charlemagne is actually out here giving apologies. It's called The Gig is the Gig. I gotta, listen to that. It's on all streaming platforms, Joe Budden Podcast. Yeah. Anyway, last thing I want to talk about is my Miami Heat. Yo, we in trouble. We are down 0-2 to the Milwaukee Bucks, and we're not looking good. I feel like at the trade deadline, we should have got Kyle Lowry by any means necessary. We should have did a whole bunch of things. I don't think Bam Adebayo is the end all be all for Miami. Bam should play power forward. We need a center. We need a legit center. Bam plays center, even though he's about 6'8", 6'9". He can't hit the three. He's a good shot blocker. He's an energy guy. We cannot win an NBA championship without another star, another superstar. I love Jimmy Butler. He's an energy guy as well. He's a great defender. He can score when he wants to, but he don't take enough shots. Last game, he took 10 shots. How is that possible? Why are you only taking 10 shots? It's another game tonight. We're at home. I'm hoping that the energy is different. We picked up Victor Oladipo in the trade, used him for a few games, and then sat him down because of he re-aggravated his old injury. So we don't even have him in the playoffs. The guy from Sacramento, Balinka, I think that's his name. He hasn't even seen the floor. He's a big man that can shoot, spread the floor, shoot the three. He hasn't seen the floor. I don't even know what that's about. He's not even in a rotation. I don't know what's going on with Miami. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with my Heat. All I know is we cannot win an NBA championship with the team that we have right now. It's impossible. We're too small for the teams that got superstar centers and bigger guards, and we got some shot makers, but we need more than what we got right now. Last but not least, Tennessee Titans, right? We did great in the draft. We did all right in the free agency. Now it's time for us to really pull the trigger and change the directory or the direction that this franchise is going to go in, right? Julio Jones is available for the Atlanta Falcons. He's a superstar, wide receiver, one of the greatest of all time, probably the greatest in this era right here that we've been able to see. There is no amount of draft picks. He's 32. Okay. He hasn't been, he has not been, injury free the whole season, right? For a whole season. It happens in football. But when he's on that field, he's a monster. He take over games. He changes games. Us having him next to A.J. Brown, Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, our offense would be virtually unstoppable. Because where you gonna go? You're gonna have to double team one of them. Somebody's gonna be open. pull the trigger, Tennessee. Don't mess this up. Don't let other teams come in. AJ Brown's doing everything he can to put out there that's who he want to play next to. Derrick Henry has made tweets about, hey, we want Julio. Front office, y'all got to make this happen. Whatever you got to do to make this happen so that Julio Jones will be in a Titans uniform first game of the season. Y'all have to make it happen. Don't mess this up. That's all I'm going to say. Tighten up. This happy hour with Lito.